Hey, second grade. So today we're going to learn how to expand and trade in math. I know some of you have already practiced it and probably have mastered it, but for the ones that are still unsure, today we're going to practice doing the expand and trade. So what expand and trade means is that we're going to write our numbers like a subtraction problem. We're then going to expand the numbers like we've practiced, and then we're going to subtract. So sometimes we have to trade, which means that our numbers that we're using are too large and we cannot subtract from them. Sometimes we don't have to do that either. So we're going to practice both ways just so you can see how it's going to work. So the first problem we're going to do is a non-trading problem, okay? So we have the number 79 minus 34. The first thing that we want to do is expand our numbers. Now remember, when we go to expand, that means we need to do our tens and our ones. So I'm going to do both of those for you. So we have 79 would become 70 plus 9. 34 would become 30 plus 4. There's my numbers expanded now. Now we are going to subtract. So we look at our ones digit, 9 minus 4, okay? 9 is larger than 4, so we can subtract. So 9 minus 4 is 5, yes. So we're going to put that there. Now we're going to subtract our tens spot. So we have 70 minus 30. Once again, our top number is larger than our bottom number, so we can subtract. 70 minus 30 is, right, 40. Okay, so now we have 40 plus 5, and that would equal 45. You're right. Okay, sorry, that's a little bit sloppy, 45. So our answer would be 45. 79 minus 34 is 45. So this was a problem where we do not have to exchange. Okay, we're going to practice one more not exchanging, and then we're going to do some that you have to exchange. I'm going to erase here. And we're going to do another one where we do not have to exchange. All right, so we're going to do 94 minus 22. Okay, so what's the first step we have to do? Expand our numbers. So we're going to do that first. So we're going to do 94, which would be 90 plus 4. And then 22 becomes 20 plus 2. I'm going to write those quick. So I'm writing out my expanded numbers. So 94 becomes 90 plus 4. 22 becomes 20 plus 2. Okay, so we're looking at it here. So is my top number larger than my bottom number? Yes. So we can subtract that. 4 minus 2 would be 2. Now we have 90 minus 20, and that would be 70. Okay, so then we have 70 plus 2, which would equal 72. So 94 minus 22 is 72. Okay, so those were two problems where we did not have to trade. So now we're going to practice with some that you have to trade, which means that your top number is smaller than your bottom number. Okay, so we're going to start a little bit easier with our expand and trade, and then we're going to jump into a little bit more difficult. So we're going to start with 84 minus 56. So here we can see 84 minus 56. Now we look here. Our top number is smaller than our bottom number. So this is where we're going to be trading. So first we want to expand our numbers out. So 84 would become 80 plus 4, and 56 would become 50 plus 6. I'll write those out for you. Okay, so now here's where it comes to how we're going to trade. Okay, so here what we have to do is, yes, we see that this number is larger and we can't take away 6 from 4. 4 is not large enough. So we have to go over to our neighbor here from the 80 and we have to borrow or trade a whole 10. So we're going to cross off the 80. And if we take 10 away, it becomes 70. Okay, now when I take those 10 away, I add it to this number. So 4 now becomes 14 because I'm adding a 10 to it. Now I look at my number here and I can see, is 14 larger than 6? Yes, it is. So now I can subtract. So I look at this number, 14 minus 6 would be 8. Okay, and then I look, is my top number still larger than this number? Yes, it is. Okay, so I can do 70 minus 50, and that would be 20. Okay, so now I add those two together. 20 plus 8 equals 28. Okay, so this one was where we just only had to borrow from or trade from our tens spot to make our ones larger. Now we're going to practice 1 in the hundreds spot. Sometimes these can be more tricky because we have to borrow the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to do 187 minus 25. So we're going to start with not having to trade on the hundred spots. So here we have our number, 187 minus 25. First part we need to do, yes, expand the numbers. So we're going to have 100 plus 80 plus 7, and then we're going to have 20 plus 5. Now remember, you have to make sure that you line up the numbers, hundreds, tens, ones, so that it all matches. Okay, so I'm going to write those out for you to see. So I need to expand my numbers, 100 plus 80 plus 7. And now we're going to do 25. 20 plus 5. Okay? If we look here, you can see that my hundreds, this number did not have any, so there's nothing there. My tens match up. My ones match up. Okay? So we're going to look here. Obviously, my numbers look backwards to you, don't they? We're going to have 7 minus 5. Can we do that? Yes, it will be a 2. Okay, so we're going to do that. Okay, 80 minus 20, that would be 60. Okay, and then obviously we have 100 minus nothing. So 100 minus nothing would be 100. You got it. Okay, so then we have to equal all that together, and it becomes 162. So if I subtracted that number, 187 minus 25, my answer becomes 162. Did we have to trade any here? We did not. Okay, so now we're going to try one where we actually have to trade. All right, so the next problem we're going to do is where we have to expand and trade our larger numbers. So I have the problem 160 minus 77. So the first thing we need to do is, yes, we're going to expand our numbers. So 160 would become 100 plus 60. We're going to add that 0 just to show the place value of it. And then we have 77. Remember, we need to make sure to line up those numbers. So the 10's in the spot of the 10's. So here we go. I have my numbers in expanded form. 100 plus 60 plus 0. And then I have 77 in expanded form as well. 70 plus 7. Okay, got to draw my line here. So now we look here, and we can see that our top number is smaller than our bottom number. So we would go over here to borrow from our 10's spot, and we're going to take 10 away so that we can have a larger number here. So we're going to take away the 10 from there. That number becomes 50, and our 0 will now become 10. Okay, so are we done yet? No, because now we have this number, 50 is smaller than 70. Okay, so what we have to do here is we have to take the whole 100. We can't just take 10 away from it. Okay, so we're going to cross off the 100. And now we have to make that number 150. Now we definitely know 150 is larger than 70. Okay, so now we can look. 10 is larger than 7 and 150 is larger than 70. So now we are going to subtract. Okay, so 10 minus 7 would be 3, yes. And then we have 150 minus 70. Okay, so think about that. I see the number 15 up there. 15 minus 7 would be 8, but we have to add that 0, so it becomes 80. So 80 plus 3 becomes 83. So 160 minus 77 is 83. Okay, we're going to try one more of these because I know they can sometimes be a little bit more challenging. So we're going to try another one where we have to do a lot of exchanges. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do the number 151 minus 64. Okay, so there's our numbers. First thing we have to do, expand them. So we're going to have 100 plus 50 plus 1. 64 becomes 60 plus 4. Once again, make sure your numbers are lined up correctly so that hundreds match, tens match, ones match. So I look at this first, and my ones digit, this number is too big. I cannot subtract it. So the first thing I need to do is go over to the tens, and we're going to borrow a 10 from him, and that would then become 40, because if I'm taking 10 away, it's no longer 50. And then I'm going to add the 10 to this guy. So 1 now becomes 11. Okay, now if we look, these two numbers are ready to subtract, but I look here, 40 is smaller than 60. So once again, where do I have to go? I have to borrow the whole 100. Okay, borrow the whole 100, and now my number becomes 140 because I took that 100 and moved it over to there. So now I have 140 minus 60, and I have 11 minus 4. Now we can subtract. Okay, so 11 minus 4 would be 7. And now we have 140 minus 60. Okay, so like I've told you guys before, cover up that 0 if it helps you. 14 minus 6, 8. But then we have to add that 0 still, so it becomes 80. So 80 plus 7 would equal 87. So 151 minus 64 is 87. Okay, I hope seeing this lesson kind of helps you understand the expand and trade form. If you are needing some more help with this, please do not hesitate to connect to me. Okay, all right, we'll see you soon. Bye.